I caught my wife cheating with her arrogant boss in our marital bed, exposed their affair with hidden cameras, and took back my life with revenge. Paired with high heels that completed an unfamiliar look, a wave of betrayal, jealousy, and anger hit me. She wasn't dressing up for me, she was doing this for Mark Diamond, her boss. While I worked tirelessly to provide her with a comfortable life and family, she was making herself irresistible for another man. It didn't make sense. Our marriage had been solid. Jessica was loving, attentive, and never gave me a reason to doubt her. After 20 years together, I never imagined she would betray me. But that changed a month ago at her company's dinner. Mark, the managing partner of her law firm, was too focused on Jessica. When he smirked at me after dancing with her, something in my gut told me something was off. The next day, I brought it up. Jessica immediately defended him, acting like I was overreacting. That reaction only deepened my suspicions. Suddenly, all the late meetings and missed lunches started looking like red flags. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. Jessica was Mark's personal assistant. He was wealthy, flashy, and arrogant, the kind of man who flaunted his success with sports cars, designer watches, and a trophy wife half his age. His first wife, whom he'd been married to for 20 years, had been replaced by a stunning 30-year-old named Stella. Mark had always rubbed me the wrong way. He thrived on belittling others, and I hadn't forgotten the night he mocked my career in front of my wife and colleagues. "So Johnny, how's life selling nuts and bolts? Must be nice working at Home Depot every day," he had sneered. Jessica laughed. That cut deep. My job wasn't glamorous, but I made over $200,000 a year, provided a great life for my family, and paid for our daughter's college. But in Mark's world, that wasn't enough. I walked away, furious. Jessica followed, asking what was wrong. When I told her, she brushed it off. "Oh, baby, he's just joking. He loves to have fun. Don't take it so seriously. Come back, he's a good guy." I stayed, against my better judgment. Looking back, I should have paid more attention. There were signs. Mark had everything: money, power, a young wife. But men like him always wanted more. I had a feeling Jessica was next on his list. I wasn't going to sit by and wonder. Within a week, I put a plan into motion. I ordered 6 audio recorders and 5 high-resolution video cameras. One went inside the smoke detector in our bedroom. Others were positioned at different angles to capture everything. More were placed in the bathroom and living room. The recording devices streamed live, feeding footage to a computer in the attic, all controlled from my phone. I even hid audio bugs in her favorite purses, her car, and one next to the kitchen phone. By the time I had finished, I knew I would catch at least 90% of her conversations and any activity in our house. As I packed for a business trip, a bad feeling loomed over me. Jessica, as always, was affectionate, making love to me like she always did before I traveled. She whispered how much she loved me, how much she wanted me. But this time, I wasn't sure if I believed her. Her warmth and affection had always been my anchor, something I never questioned. "I love you so much," she murmured, her voice soft and full of emotion. "Being with you like this means everything to me." Tears shimmered in her eyes as she smiled at me. "I love you too, sweetheart. You're incredible, and I'll love you forever." That night was magical. The connection between us felt so deep, so real, that I almost convinced myself my doubts were ridiculous. There was no way she could betray me. For a fleeting moment, I considered abandoning my plan. Thankfully, I didn't. Instead, I left everything in place and headed out for my 2-night business trip, giving her enough time if there was anything to uncover. We kissed goodbye, and by 6 p.m., I was on the road for the 3-hour drive to my hotel. As I drove, my mind replayed the past 6 months, searching for signs other than those 2 uncomfortable encounters with her boss. The way he smirked at me, his attempt to humiliate me. Nothing had changed. A chuckle escaped me as I realized I was probably being paranoid. When I arrived at my hotel, I checked in, settled onto the king-size bed, and powered up my laptop. After scanning my work emails, I clicked the link that connected me to the home surveillance feed. I knew I wouldn't find much, but I wanted to test the system. Fast-forwarding through the last 3 hours, I stopped when Jessica appeared in our bedroom. I slowed the footage to normal speed and watched as she lounged on the bed making a phone call. At first, I was just admiring her, but then I heard the conversation, one I never expected. "Hey baby, he's gone. I have the house all to myself." "Yeah, this time it's for 2 nights. When can you come over? Won't your wife notice? Oh my God, this is perfect. Will you stay the night? I want to wake up beside you. Of course, I'm all yours. What time? Okay, see you soon. I love you, baby." I froze. Just an hour earlier, we had shared one of the most passionate nights of our lives. She had told me she loved me again and again, and now here she was, inviting him into my home, my bed. Who was this woman? How could she love me like that, then betray me so effortlessly? Was he really coming? I didn't have to wonder for long. Over the next hour, I watched Jessica prepare for him. She showered, slipped into seductive lingerie, styled her hair, applied her makeup, and finished the look with high heels, something she never did for me. Watching it unfold was both torturous and mesmerizing. I had always known she was sensual, but seeing her transform into this seductive, unattainable version of herself, one that was meant for another man, shattered me. Maybe I'd misunderstood. Maybe he wouldn't actually show up. That last shred of hope died when the doorbell rang. Jessica opened the door, and there he was, Mark Diamond, smirking like he owned the world. The camera caught everything as he pulled her into a deep kiss. My stomach turned, and I barely made it to the bathroom before I vomited. "Wow, baby," Mark said, his eyes roaming over her body. "You look incredible. I can't wait to peel that dress off you and have you all night." His words made my blood boil, but the real pain came when Jessica took his hand and led him into our bedroom. I sat in stunned silence, forced to watch as she stripped him down, revealing the kind of chiseled body women admired. My emotions churned, a sick mix of rage, jealousy, and disbelief. Despite everything, I had to admit he was an impressive-looking bastard. My gut clenched as I watched. The nausea returned, and I barely made it through another round of sickness before forcing myself back to the screen. I should have looked away. I should have shut it off, but I couldn't. For the next hour, I endured their moans, their whispered words, their betrayal. Then came the conversation. Lying in each other's arms, Mark spoke first. "So, he's really gone for 2 nights?" Jessica sighed contentedly. "Yes, you have me all to yourself, baby. I've wanted to wake up next to you for so long. I love being with you, Jessica." She smiled. "And I love being with you, Mark." He chuckled. "I can't wait to have you over and over again while your husband works his ass off. What an idiot." She playfully nudged him. "Be nice, Mark. He's a good man, and I love him." "Then why are you here with me?" Jessica hesitated before answering. "Because you're the most attractive man I've ever met, and the closeness of it is unbelievable. But we both have marriages to protect." "This makes sense," Mark sighed. "You give me more love and passion than my wife or any woman I've been with. For me, this isn't just closeness." "I love how you make me feel, Jessica." Those words cut the deepest. That love was supposed to belong to me, but it didn't, not anymore. As I continued watching, they kissed, whispered, and held each other. Then Mark asked the question that sealed my fate. "Does he satisfy you like I do?" Jessica hesitated, then admitted, "He's a wonderful lover, but no, not like you. You do things to me that I can't even explain." The final blow. I sat there, staring at the screen, drowning in heartbreak and rage. I reached for the laptop and slammed it shut. I couldn't listen anymore. Hours passed as I lay in bed, unable to sleep, consumed by anger, grief, and the sharp sting of betrayal. One thing was clear, this wouldn't end without pain, and I would make sure I wasn't the only one suffering. When I got back home, everything seemed normal. Love, warmth, and familiarity, like nothing had ever happened. Jessica welcomed me with open arms, showering me with kisses and affection. She acted exactly as she always had, as if there was no dark secret lurking beneath the surface. But for me, everything had changed. Instead of love, all I felt was disgust. Her touch made my skin crawl, and I recoiled internally at her kiss. Still, I played my role perfectly, acting as though nothing was amiss. I gathered every piece of footage and audio I had collected, stored multiple copies in the cloud, and locked everything behind encrypted files on my computer. For the next 2 weeks, I made sure to keep Jessica occupied. I monopolized her time, never giving her a free moment to sneak away for stolen encounters or secret rendezvous. I controlled our schedule so completely that she barely had time to breathe, let alone cheat. Eventually, her frustration became obvious. Then, one morning, I caught her conversation while she was driving to work. "When is he going out of town?" Again. "I don't know, but I'll find out," she replied. "It needs to be soon, babe." That was all I needed to hear. It confirmed everything. I decided to stage another trip, a short one, just to see if he would take the bait. Everything was falling into place. That same evening, as we lounged on the couch watching a movie, Jessica casually asked, "Baby, when's your next work trip?" I felt my blood boil, but I forced a smile and answered playfully, "Why, trying to get rid of me? You wouldn't happen to have a secret lover who visits when I'm away, would you?" She didn't flinch, didn't miss a beat. "Don't be ridiculous. I love having you home. I just hope you won't have to leave again anytime soon. Sorry, sweetheart, but work still requires me to travel. I actually have an overnight meeting next Tuesday. I'll be back sometime Wednesday." She sighed, pretending to be disappointed. "I hate when you're gone. I miss you so much when you travel. Then she slid into my lap, wrapping her arms around me, kissing me deeply. She poured love into that kiss, the same love she gave to another man. It took everything in me not to push her away. Instead, I played along, knowing that soon my plan would be set into motion. Tuesday arrived. I packed my bag, kissed Jessica goodbye, and we shared one final night together, the last time we would ever be intimate. She kissed me like she always had, but this time, I wondered if she noticed the sadness in my eyes. For a fleeting moment, her expression shifted, but whatever she was thinking, she said nothing. Instead of leaving town, I drove to my office and parked my car. It wasn't unusual for me to work late, so no one questioned my presence when I returned to my desk. By 7:30 p.m., my surveillance camera alerted me. Mark had arrived. He strolled into my home as if he belonged there, pulling my wife into his arms and kissing her with an intimacy that should have been reserved for me. Showtime. I disabled the video feed from my phone and placed my cell in a drawer. No GPS, no digital trail. Slipping out of the office unnoticed, I retrieved a collapsible electric bike from my trunk. Silent and efficient, it could hit 30 miles per hour and cover 50 miles on a single charge. I pulled up my hood, checked my surroundings, and took off. The bike allowed me to move undetected. Within 20 minutes, I reached my house, slipping into the backyard where I had left the sliding door unlocked. I stepped inside, heart pounding, ears straining for any sound. Upstairs, I could hear them. I grabbed the aluminum bat I had hidden in the closet and retrieved the short-barreled rifle I had stored outside the bedroom. With the bat gripped tightly in my hands, I crept toward the door. They were too lost in their own pleasure to notice my presence. The candles flickered, casting soft light over the room as I stepped inside. Jessica didn't sense a thing. Mark never saw me coming. The bat connected with a solid impact, and Mark lost his balance, his sturdy frame landing on the floor with a muffled thud. I reached for the object I had set aside, and switched on the light. Jessica gasped, her eyes wide with shock as she scrambled backward, her entire body frozen in fear. "Oh my God, no, this can't be happening. Why are you here? You were supposed to be gone." I fixed my gaze on her, my voice cold and controlled. "The real question is, why is another man in my bed?" Mark, still dazed, let out a groan, clutching his head where he had been hit. Slowly, he propped himself up against the wall, his face twisting from confusion to panic as he realized the situation he was in. "Jesus, that hurts," he muttered. "What the hell is wrong with you?" "You really need to ask that," I snapped. "You sneak into my house, sleep with my wife in my bed, and expect me to just let it slide." He swallowed hard, glancing nervously at the tool. "What are you going to do?" I smirked. "Oh, what's wrong, big guy? You scared?" Jessica was still in shock, her face pale. Mark, however, was now fully alert, his muscles tense as he assessed the situation. "I know everything," I continued. "Every secret phone call, every meeting, every disgusting little betrayal. And now you get to pay for it." Mark's breathing quickened. "Listen, man, if you do something stupid, you're going to prison." I let out a low laugh. "Oh, I don't plan on going alone. If I go down, we all go down. How's that sound?" The fear in his eyes was almost satisfying. Jessica sobbed. "Please, don't do this. Why not?" I shot back. "Didn't think about the consequences while you were sneaking around, did you? I wasn't going to liquidate, but they didn't need to know that." Watching them squirm, seeing them sweat under the weight of their choices gave me a twisted sense of satisfaction. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I had the upper hand. Jessica was in tears, curled up in the sheets, desperately trying to cover herself. "Please, don't do anything reckless," she pleaded. "I love you, I swear I do. Just put that down and let's talk." With a smirk, I leveled the rifle in her direction. "Save it. This is exactly what you wanted. Excitement outside our marriage. Whatever happens tonight is on you." Both of them knew they were in deep trouble. They could see the rage in my eyes, and their only way out was to keep me calm. What they didn't know was that I had never planned to take a life. The rifle was loaded with custom rounds, 25% salt and 75% capsicum, the same compound used in pepper spray. It wasn't lethal, but it would deliver an excruciating lesson, especially if aimed at the right spot. My goal wasn't to go to prison, it was to ensure they never forgot this night. Mark, now more alert after the hit to the head, decided to fight back. I was waiting for it. As soon as he lunged, leaving himself wide open, I fired. The blast was deafening, but his screams were even louder. He collapsed, writhing on the floor, clawing at his face as he gasped for breath. The burning sensation overwhelmed him, and the pain was unlike anything he had ever experienced a few minutes later as he sat hunched over, whimpering in agony. I stepped forward and kicked his leg to get his attention. Then, turning my gaze to Jessica, I laid out the rules. "Listen up, both of you. Here's how this works. In a few minutes, I'm walking out of here. and you're going to take this idiot to the hospital before he loses too much blood. You won't call emergency services. You'll drive him there yourselves, and when they ask what happened, you'll say you don't know. You'll make up a story, but under no circumstances will you mention me. If either of you even thinks about throwing my name into this mess, every piece of evidence I've collected, videos, photos, phone recordings, will be sent straight to his wife and his firm's partners. On top of that, I've created a website that'll go public, featuring 2 hours of your little escapades. I don't care what kind of ridiculous excuse you come up with, but my name stays out of it. And one more thing, Mark. You will not fire Jessica. She's going to need that paycheck once this divorce is finalized. If either of you comes after me, or if she doesn't accept the divorce terms, everything goes public. Understand? They were both silent. Jessica's tear-streaked face was pale, and Mark could barely breathe through the burning pain. Good. Now get him to a doctor. I walked out the same way I came in, resetting the lock behind me. The rifle and bat went into a bag slung over my shoulder as I silently disappeared into the night. Once I reached my bike, I rode straight to the river, tossing the bat and rifle into different sections before ditching the surgical gloves I'd been wearing. By the time I returned to my office, I stored the bike in my car and resumed working at my desk. At 9 p.m., I casually said goodbye to a few IT employees who were working late. As far as anyone knew, my car had never left the parking lot. If anyone tried to accuse me of anything, it would be their word against mine, with zero evidence. Mark underwent surgery. The doctor shaved his head to stitch up the 18-centimeter gash and diagnosed him with a concussion. His official statement, he remembered walking Jessica home with some paperwork and then waking up in the hospital. He claimed he never saw anyone, never knew what hit him. He knew better than to tell the truth. He understood what was at stake. Jessica remained silent as well. When questioned, she simply said she heard a loud noise, went outside, and found Mark on the ground. She insisted she had rushed him to the hospital because she thought waiting for an ambulance would take too long. Neither of them could explain why he was without clothes, but they stuck to their stories. Unfortunately for Mark, his wife didn't buy it, and soon his personal problems would become much bigger than me. By the afternoon, I had removed every hidden camera and microphone. Everything was uploaded to a secure, encrypted cloud, and the devices were destroyed. Any trace of evidence I had of their affair was safely out of their reach. By 6 p.m., Jessica walked into the house and found me sitting in the living room, a bottle of whiskey on the table in front of me. She looked exhausted, drained, broken. I'd never seen her like this before. For a split second, I almost felt sorry for her. Then she spoke. "Johnny, I know what you saw looked terrible, but you need to understand I wasn't in love with him." Her voice trembled, her eyes pleading with mine. "I know how it seemed, and I know what I said must have hurt you, but you know me. After being intimate, I crave connection. The things I said, those words, they weren't real. I only ever meant them for you." Tears welled in her eyes as she continued. "Whenever you were away, I hated being alone. Mark was just there. He kept me company, and yes, things became physical, but it was never about love. It was just closeness. Please, Johnny, you have to believe me." I sat there, stunned, unable to believe the excuse spilling from her lips. My mind raced, struggling to process how she could justify what she had done. "Jessica," I said, my voice calm but sharp, "I've heard everything you had to say, and while you claim those words of love were meant for me, I know the truth. They were for him. It's over. 20 years of marriage, gone because of your choices, because of him. We'll both have to live with the consequences of what you did. So, congratulations. You've given me a pain I'll never forget." My words dripped with sarcasm. Tears streamed down her face. "What do we do now?" she whispered. I didn't hesitate. "There is no we anymore. You and I are finished. I'll never understand why you did this, and I'll have to live with that forever. Forgiveness isn't an option, but I'll keep my word. I won't expose your affair. Sarah and your parents will never know what you truly are. I'll let you decide how to explain the divorce, but don't you dare make me the villain. If you try, I promise I'll make sure everyone finds out exactly what kind of person you are. I'm putting the house on the market. You need to find somewhere else to stay since you're the one who ruined everything. You'll be the one to leave. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. Let me know where to send the divorce papers. Sign them without a fight, or you and your boyfriend will regret it." She buried her face in her hands, sobbing. "He's not my boyfriend. I don't love him. Please, isn't there a way to fix this? I know I messed up. I know I hurt you, but I can't live without you. I'll do anything to make this right. Just don't leave me." I shook my head. "Jessica, if this had been just physical, maybe, just maybe, we could have tried therapy or taken time apart. But it wasn't just that. You gave him something that was meant only for me. You told him things that made our love meaningless. Those words killed us. They killed everything I ever felt for you. No, I'll never forgive you. I'll never move past this. And once this divorce is finalized, you'll be out of my life forever." She begged for hours, but by morning she was gone. She moved in with her parents while the house was being sold. That week, the police questioned me, trying to connect me to the incident with Mark. I hired a lawyer, and we shut them down. "Unless you have proof," my attorney told them, "my client has nothing more to say." With no evidence, no charges, and my rock-solid alibi, they had no choice but to let it go. The official report labeled it a burglary gone wrong. Jessica and her family called constantly, pleading with me to reconsider. "She loves you," they said. "She's sorry. Please, at least talk to her. Try counseling. Find a way to fix things." I ignored every call. When they showed up at my door, I didn't answer. Eventually, I changed my number. From that moment on, I never spoke to any of them again. Yes, the loss was unbearable. Every day apart from her was torture, but the memory of what she did, of how she gave her love to another man, was something I could never get past. Jessica's life crumbled. At 42, she was alone, living in a tiny one-bedroom apartment, surviving on her salary. The comfortable life she once had was gone. Worse, Sarah and the rest of her family had figured out the truth. They were furious, placing all the blame on her. Her daughter no longer saw her the same way. Her parents were ashamed. Jessica had lost everything. As for Mark, he had no intention of sticking around. At work, he distanced himself, refusing to acknowledge her beyond what was necessary. His frustration over the fallout from their affair turned into resentment, and soon he pushed her out of his department entirely. Though she kept the same salary, she was reassigned to a mundane administrative role. The prestigious position she once had was gone. Rumors swirled. People whispered behind her back, calling her just another one of Mark's discarded flings. She was no longer respected. With a job she hated, no chance of career growth, no husband, no friends, and no family willing to defend her, Jessica spiraled into depression. She cried herself to sleep night after night, consumed by regret. Every day was a painful reminder of what she had thrown away. Sarah tried to be there for her mother, but the damage was done. She watched Jessica waste away, barely eating, drinking too much, losing weight. No matter how much Sarah tried to help, Jessica refused to pull herself together. "What's the point?" she would say. "Without Johnny, nothing matters." Desperate, Sarah reached out to me for advice. I told her I was sorry for what she was going through, but I made it clear I would never forgive Jessica, and I would never speak to her again. Meanwhile, Mark's world wasn't faring much better. His wife, Stella, wasn't one to forgive and forget. She made his life a living nightmare. He was forced into one of the guest rooms, humiliated and constantly reminded of his mistake. She took control, dictating every aspect of their marriage. Then she started dating younger men right in front of him. But she never left. She stayed, keeping up appearances for his career, making sure he paid every bill while she lived her life however she pleased. Mark had lost everything. He had money, sure, but he would never again know the love of a woman who truly cared for him. His infidelity had cost him more than he ever expected, and no matter how much he wanted revenge, no matter how badly he burned with anger toward me, there was nothing he could do, because in the end, I had already won. That year, an unexpected attack nearly cost me my life. I was out for drinks with my colleagues when a group of men ambushed me outside the bar. They didn't hold back, landing brutal blows until my coworkers rushed out to intervene. By the time the police arrived, my assailants had disappeared into the night. I ended up in the hospital with fractured ribs and 20 stitches. Lying in that hospital bed, I had no doubt who was behind it. Mark had finally made his move. If my friends hadn't been there, I might not have survived. But I wasn't surprised. I had been expecting this. 6 weeks later, after I had healed enough to move without wincing, I made a call to his office. "Mr. Diamond, please," I said to the receptionist. "He's in a meeting. Can I take a message?" "Yes. Tell him to meet me at the French Deli across the street at 1 p.m. this Friday." "I'm sorry, sir, I don't schedule appointments for Mr. Diamond. Just write it down. Friday, 1 p.m., French Deli alone. Tell him Johnny said so. He'll know what it means." I was seated at a corner table facing the entrance when he walked in. His expression darkened as he spotted me. He hesitated, then approached. "Sit," I said. He pulled out the chair and glared at me. "What do you want?" Ignoring his hostility, I leaned forward. "Glad you came. Your guys did a solid job on me, but unfortunately for you, they didn't finish it. I warned you not to retaliate, and yet here we are. Now, because you couldn't let things go, I have to take action. I slid a folded piece of paper across the table. This is a link to a little website I set up. Don't bother trying to take it down. It's hosted offshore with 3 backup servers in undisclosed locations. There's no way to erase it. Mark unfolded the paper and frowned. Check it out when you get back to the office, I continued. You'll find 2 hours of premium footage starring you. But don't worry, I blurred Jessica's face. She's already lost enough because of you. This is about your sins, not hers. His hands clenched into fists. You've already destroyed my life, he snapped. I'll never be the same again. Just stop this before you push me too far. That's why we're meeting, Mr. Diamond, I said calmly. To put an end to this, you took the most important person in my life. You shattered a 20-year marriage. And then, when I walked away, you still came after me. Well, now it's my turn. His shoulders tensed. What do you want? 2 things, non-negotiable. First, you end all retaliation against me, my family, and Jessica. No more games, no more attacks, no more interference. Second, you will wire $1 million into this account by Friday at 9 p.m. Consider it compensation for the lawsuit I could file against you. This is a fraction of what I could take from you in court, and we both know it. Call it a gift. He exhaled sharply. And if I agree, how do I know you won't release the footage anyway? I met his stare. You don't. You'll have to trust me. But here's what I can promise you. If you don't pay, that site goes live by Saturday morning. Your firm, your wife, your kids, and every client you've ever had will have access to your little home movie. You ended my happiness, Mark. If you refuse, I'll make sure you suffer for the rest of your life. The deal was made. The money was transferred. The house was sold and assets were divided. Jessica had enough to live comfortably as long as she worked or found someone new. She kept her job, part of my arrangement with Mark, but he never treated her the same again. Her life never recovered. Jessica never remarried. She barely dated. Regret clung to her like a shadow. She had lost the man she once believed would be hers forever, and the weight of that realization never left her. Years passed, and depression took hold. She became withdrawn, isolated, a shell of the woman she used to be. By the time she neared 50, her health had deteriorated. The vibrant, confident person I had once loved was gone. The day she died, only Sarah was there to scatter her ashes. As for me, I worked for several more years before retiring to a quiet town by the ocean. I remarried a kind woman who made me laugh, someone I connected with both mentally and physically. She was good to me, but I never felt that once-in-a-lifetime love again. Jessica had been that love, and she had destroyed it. Sarah and I remained close. She was the only link to my past that I held on to. We spoke every day, though she rarely mentioned her mother. She knew the wounds had never fully healed. When I heard of Jessica's passing, I felt an unexpected mix of sadness and relief. Her death marked the end of something long buried, a pain I had carried for too many years. And though I mourned the woman she used to be, I finally felt free.